This is a scan of an Adidas tracksuit. So it's a high resolution scan just done on a kind of consumer scanner bed. It's from a series that I've been working on for a couple of years, which are just basically kind of textiles that have been scanned. Stupidly called scanner paintings, not a very good name. But, you know, I live in Norway right now, and then Adidas has a kind of total lockdown on, like when I go to the gym, I can see like 100 of these things. So to me, that these are very present just in my life, daily life. And I think the Adidas thing is really cool because depending on where you show something that has these three stripes, people will read them totally differently. Like London, I'm sure, is reading it. It'll be read a lot different than in Norway, right? And
it's having a bit of a moment, judging by my teenagers.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
I did a show in Bergamo recently, and in Milan, and in Bergamo, Milan, I mean, this like basically is like criminal.
Really?
Yeah, like the Adidas tracksuits kind of is read as like thug, wow, criminal. It's so funny, you know, and so it's kind of, I don't know, I don't know what this is doing, but that's I just know there's like a lot of interesting energy around this, just these very simple stripes. So that would be why I would have included it in the show. This is a Lord & Taylor logo. That was kind of my mother's favorite, or one of her favorite department stores growing up. I grew up, you know, again in Buffalo. And interesting store is a subsidiary of the Hudson Bay Company, you know?
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, has its roots in like fur trapping, like pre-United States. So. Yeah. Anyway, and I always loved the logo. I mean, there's some, I always loved the logo. I mean, this is talking when I was a kid. I always thought it was so glamorous and
it was a good day when Mum came back from the shop with a Lord & Taylor bag full of stuff.
Yeah, so,
she was in a good mood.
Yeah, so there's a lot of personal stuff here, and today I like the way the logo reads today.
It's definitely dated, isn't it?
You would never see a company that had that logo now. So, and I like the way it looks upside down. So it made sense to do this lake effect, and this is this effect was an effect that was really popular on the internet in the 90s.
Right.
So this is another one of these lake pieces. These are some slides, they're called, that I sell from my merchandise company, Arcangel Surfwear, arcangelsurfwear.biz. These are for sale. Yeah, shop.arcangelsurfwear.biz. This is a highly cropped from an image online of Leonardo DiCaprio and one of his girlfriends.
Oh, right.
That I got off of a gossip site, which has then been kind of processed to make it look worse a bit. And this is a scan of a flyer that was in my personal archive. It's a flyer from Ibiza.
Oh, okay.
Of David Guetta.
Yeah.
That's very current.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the show is kind of mixed. Show is kind of like everything at once that I've been working on the last 5 years, except I decided to make everything the same size. So it's like, I think my current line is it's like a buffet.
Can you tell us what it'll be doing when it's on?
There's a computer in the back that's going to be running a kind of an audio piece that is, it's like white noise that has two kind of white noise that has two processes running on it. One is it's been side chained, which is do you know what side chaining? Okay, so it's basically reverse compressed against a bass drum. So basically there's a bass drum in my track which is muted, and anytime, here, let me put it this way. in all modern top 40 dance music, under almost all those tracks, one of the tricks is that there's white noise under all of those tracks. And what happens when you lay white noise under your track, it kind of fills in all those empty spaces. It's like a cymbal, right? And the way, there's a kind of production trick called side chaining, which makes it kind of fill in the gaps. Right. So when there isn't a sound, the white noise kind of pops up. So I've done that against a bass drum, which is invisible, which I muted. And then I've also filtered the white noise because the other trick that in dance music is to filter white noise, like as you kind of reveal and take away frequencies, and it makes it kind of harsh and less harsh. And so to create kind of tension and relieve tension, you would filter. So this is a trick, and a lot of radio music has this trick.
Okay, yeah.
And so I was definitely interested in that, you know, and then having a 3-month-old at home, you know, white noise is a very big part of my life because, you know, babies kind of go into a trance when you pay.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
No, I didn't know it at the time when the information would have been useful to me.
Yeah, so it's kind of the sound of the womb, really. It sounds like white noise. And so when you play a newborn white noise, they kind of go into a trance and kind of go to sleep.
Wow.
So my life has just been filled with white noise. Yeah. And so I thought it was interesting to do kind of, and then also that a lot of dance music today has the same, like, what are we, just babies? Like, I mean, there's probably has to be some relationship, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because otherwise it wouldn't, I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's pacifying us.
Yeah.
It's a pacifier.
It's a pacifier, yeah. So anyway, that's what's going to be here. And you know, the end result will not be pleasant. Like what's coming out of these speakers is not going to be like a pleasant thing, because white noise is like, it's like scratching.
Yeah, even if it pacifies us.
Yeah, so that'll be an important part of the show, to kind of fill the gallery with a kind of aggressive, exhaustive noise. Yeah. So here's the rest of the show. We're also going to be hanging something. These are just a series of drawings. These are made on I have in my studio in New York a Muto XP300 pencil plotter. This is a kind of long obsolete architectural pencil drawing machine from the 90s that I got off of eBay for very cheap, and it's basically a robotic arm. So this is one line that I drew in Norway and then emailed to New York, and then the robot drew it 60 times. Wow. So I've been working with this pencil plotter for 6 or 7 years and still just trying to figure out what's the coolest to do with it. Yeah. So now I'm just doing kind of scribbles. This again is another one of these tracksuits. This is a scan from my personal archive. This is Kanye on the cover of GQ. This is a photo I took on my BlackBerry. I used to be huge into my BlackBerry when the BlackBerry still was a kind of status symbol, just like one of my cell phone photographs. This is a slideshow of some rental return photographs. You know, like when you return a rental car, you should take photographs of it to prove that you haven't damaged it. Yeah. So this is some of my rental return photographs.
Your own personal rental return photographs, okay.
This, I think, is this is the centerpiece of the show, you could argue. Well, yeah, part of this idea of the show is to have there be no hierarchy between image, like quality and intent. Yeah. And your rent and return photographs technically are like the lowest.
Usually the ones you've taken least trouble.
Yeah.
The ones you're not going to put on Instagram.
You're not going to put them on Instagram. Yeah. They are the bottom of the barrel of contemporary image culture, and so it's very important for me that they're in the show, because
that says something.
And the one next to it's blurry. Like, why do photographs need to be in focus? Like, that's so. This is a kind of image, like a cropped image taken online of Marilyn Manson. This is more Photoshop stuff. So it's just like a bit of everything with no hierarchy, you know, which is kind of how I see what I do in a way. Some older work of mine, a Nintendo work being emulated on a modern computer, with more like the modern apps around it. Yeah. Victoria Beckham. Another one of these lakes of one of the Photoshop things. Online image, and then the Harry Potter guy walking some dogs. Oh, right. Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah. So it's a little bit of everything. It's like a survey that's not really a survey.
But these are, I mean, certainly the people are icons that you think will.
I mean, the photographs are done in such a way that I think I like to make a really strong image, you know. So I think, I think maybe something like this Manson, I think that's a really strong, it was like a clickbait article, like 9 celebrities who went bankrupt, or I don't know, I can't remember the exact article this was from, something like that.
Yeah. And that does sort of, you can see it fitting in that context.
Or
They always have a certain kind of
or something.
expression, don't they?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah. I mean, the way the media uses images is really very cunning in terms of sort of enhancing the subtext.
Yeah, also we have done a clickbait advertising campaign for the show. So
Right.
these images are also floating around the internet.
Tell me a little bit more quickly about the way your online presence kind of interacts with your...
Yeah, so for this show, the idea is that the show is physical but also virtual. And in virtual, we've taken out ads on Outbrain, and that's a kind of, like at the bottom of a lot of websites, you'll see more from the web, and it'll be like, or more from our partners. Right. And so we've taken some of these images and done very kind of clickbaity titles for them. So when you click on it, then you get to the show page on Lisson's website. Like, I forget, 20 ways to know your cat hates you, like things like this, you know. So, but it was important for me, not only is there no hierarchy of the images in the show, but I thought it was fun to also, you know, we're in a kind of very elegant gallery space, and it's fun to have the same images float around the web in a totally another kind of quote unquote unelegant context. And also to have two parallel shows, like a physical and a virtual show, I thought would be very funny. And not funny, cool, or whatever.
Yeah. And the kitten round the corner.
Just couldn't find a place for it in the show, so we just stuck it in the middle. But that's a photograph from my studio.
Right.
Yeah.
Your cat?
No, a friend's cat.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, the show's just massive. I mean, it's really my big show this year, so it's just a massive smash.
Great.
Oh, don't look at the camera.